Good afternoon and welcome back. And we are here again after another one of those weeks. Has been another week. Another real bad, well, I don't know.
Another wick in the candle.
Yes. I don't know if there are witches.
All in all, you're just another wick in the wax.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Okay, but one thing I must say before we start, it seems like the intro sound is getting lower and lower every day. We keep asking, please raise the sound so we know when we are coming on and when the breaks come in and we come back from the breaks. And instead of getting louder, they're getting lower. I don't know.
You just have to know.
Yeah, right. Like all the watches are synchronized, okay?
Well, they are. The thing is, you got to be looking at them, and that's where the hard part is.
They are not necessarily, because the different watches. My computer is supposed to be like a atomic clock, but it's not.
It has to become a part of your circadian rhythm system.
Right. No, it's
you have
just
to take
that.
It inward.
And sometimes even their watch is not perfect, so the breaks doesn't correspond to what it's on the schedule. So it just, well, that's why radio used to have a sound engineer, and he was there to warn you. But anyway.
Welcome to OrionTalkRadio.com, and hello, Micro 1650 in Tonawanda, New York, and everybody listening on Spreaker. Thanks for listening.
Okay. And this is just a few days before Christmas. That doesn't stop humanity from being wicked and causing problems to everybody. But people should remember what Christmas means and what is supposed to bring into human minds. And doesn't seem like it's working this year. And in light of all the things that have been going on this week, we are having Barbara Hartwell coming back this week because there are other things that she needs to discuss. And she's here with us. Hi, Barbara.
Good afternoon, Dr. Carpenter and Randy.
Hi.
Hey, Barbara.
But before we get into all these things, unpleasant things that have been going on this week, we like to go over something that it's only indirectly medical conspiracy. It's actually medical conspiracy, although at first sight doesn't seem to be. But it is. And it's part of the news. And it's still what we talked about last Saturday. And it's still going on. Yak, yak, yak. Every different side giving their excuse and pointing the fingers at other. But it is this shooting at the children's school in Connecticut. Okay. So we talked about last week. And I introduced the subject. Just look at the facts. This guy acted totally in a completely insane manner. Violence. And what causes violence? The certain medication are used for antidepressant, and a medication that children are being put on that shouldn't be. Of course, that had not something that could be supported. There are some groups and some hosts that have been talking about it, also saying, hey, medication, we need to control this medication. Instead, what we have, the major uproar going on out there is against guns, which, in my view, is what was planned in the first place, because this whole thing is not something that accidentally happened, it was planned. All this shooting were planned. And of course, the people opposing the guns attacked the National Rifle Association and said, oh, what do you have to say about this? And they didn't say anything at first. They said they will come back later with their stand. In the meantime, the thing that really shocked me was change.org. Change.org.
That's right. We never brought that up last week.
Well, that's another story about our side of change.org, okay? As you know,
something creepy happened.
Yes, our petition is on change.org. I was introducing on change.org in the view of what's going on in the news, but I forgot last week to mention something that happened during last week. We have our petition that is still there. It's still collecting some signature. It's slow, but it's still collecting signature. all of a sudden, last week I got an email from Change.org asking me why I closed my petition. And the question was...
Boing. What did you say?
What did you say?
Why did we close the petition?
And they said, what did you do that for? Did you win? Yeah. Okay. But we said, who closed the petition? We certainly did not. As of today, Change.org couldn't be of any help, so we don't know who closed it. And how did they close it? Because you have to have a password for it. Of course, that's what comes to mind. That has been our problem all along. Expert hacker hired by the government, because they're too expert.
Probably wouldn't have to be too much an expert, really.
I don't know. But anyway, somebody hacked it and closed our petition. Fortunately, Change.org informed us, and now we're keeping an eye on it all the time. And so we reopened it. But how could that happen and why? How could that hurt anything? Think about it. It's just unbelievable. This connected with the accident, connected all the things that are going on, and you start wondering. They're not satisfied that they ruined us financially. They destroyed our business. We lost everything. They stole our money, our property. That was not enough. They keep going and going, and then they're keeping an eye on our movement. That was not enough, okay? They had to do something else.
Yeah, and then last week, somebody's daughter got on our YouTube channel. Yeah. Started trying to leave little souvenirs of her visit,
How dare you call my mother what she is?
Did you hear that, Barbara?
Say her name, Randy. It's Michelle Walvin.
It's her daughter. It's her daughter.
The psycho stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle's daughter decided to show up, and I don't know why, just all out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
Yeah.
The week where our petition was shut down, was closed.
They'll never stop, Dr. Carpenter.
Yeah.
We talked about this from the first program that I came on your show. Okay, we talked about this. It's isolation, alienation, deprivation, right out of the CIA PSYOPs manual, that they need to shut down not just your business, not just destroy your professional and personal reputation. They have an obsessive need to destroy you and every area of your life, which is just what they're doing to me as well.
Yeah. That's their method. And then they started sounding outrageous, like, how dare you say something about my mother, saying what she is. Actually calling her a troll.
The truth hurts, Dr. Carpenter. The truth.
Oh.
Yeah, and then saying that, I killed her best friend. First of all, if anybody was the cause of death of the best friend, was exactly Michelle Woven. She was the one who gave her the wrong advice, pushed it in the wrong direction. And then everybody covered up the fact that she had another type of cancer that I did not treat. And then covering up the fact that she had months and months and months of poison and radiation. And she died within the limit of the time frame when people going for standard treatment die. Even if they never came to lesbian, they die between 1 to 2 years. They die from standard treatment. And she falls exactly into that pattern. So how could I, lesbian, have any responsibility? So
well, we
discussed...
Dr. Carpenter, you don't.
Here we go. I think we're fixing it. I think
Do we have a break?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't hear anything.
Okay,
Do you?
Maybe I was off.
See, I'm telling you, when you're depending on the time, it's not working. It doesn't work. I'm going to have some talk with the management here. But anyway, so going back to that. So that whole thing is ridiculous. But why, my question is, why resurgence? On Christmas time, of all places. Want to make sure that I have a miserable Christmas.
That's a big thing for them, Dr. Carpenter. Do you know that some of the death threats that came my way, they came on Easter Sunday? They always target your birthday holidays that are sacred to you, that's how they operate.
And how would they know that they're sacred to me unless my ex told them?
Okay? Well, it's a general idea, okay?
Yeah, but some of the things they did were they had to know. Okay.
You're listening to The Medical Conspiracy with Dr. Carpenter.
Now I can hear it.
Vaguely, yeah. But I don't hear the music. Okay, we are back from the break. I don't know if the music is still on or not because I cannot hear anything. So, but what we were saying, I started to say something about the organization change.org, and then Randy reminded me what I have forgotten to discuss last week and on our personal issue of attacks because of the petition, attacks of Les meeting. But what I was saying is I was notified that there are 4 new petitions on change.org connected with the shooting at the elementary school. And 2 are just not to the point of this discussion, but 2 others are really on target. One is pushing for the gun control so ordinary citizens cannot be armed. No weapons for ordinary citizens. And the other one is about more mental health support by the federal government. More money for mental health support to the federal government. And that really infuriated me, okay? Because the cause of all of this is medication that they give you with the mental health excuse, and the drugs they give you, they make people go crazy. They make them suicidal or violent. And it's been proven, there are plenty of reports on the subject, the medication they receive are really dangerous and it causes the opposite. Instead of controlling people, they make them violent against themselves and other people. The one that needs to be stopped are the drugs.
Exactly.
The habit of putting out all these drugs and putting children on drugs.
But, that's part of the whole New World Order agenda, to control people by doping them up, dumbing them down, and that's a method of control. And the so-called, quote, support, mental health support is utter nonsense. There's no support in drugging people, children or adults or otherwise. That is not support. That is a sabotage of the minds and spirits of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And how can people be so gullible and put up these petitions? Of course, they could have been told to put up those petitions. So gun control, these are the people that cannot defend themselves. And then dope them up even more. More
exactly.
Drugs.
So you have them incapacitated mentally and every other way, so they cannot exercise their God-given right to self-defense of me and mine, me and my family, me and my loved ones, me and anyone that comes under my protection or yours.
Right. You can't do that. And then was even talking about disgusting, cheap propaganda. What they do, they post on the web this letter that supposedly a little girl wrote to the president. And they post it all over the web. And a little girl, of course, it's her opinion, like a little girl can formulate that kind of thought, asking the president to support the fact that only police and only military should have weapons, not ordinary people.
Well, when only the police have guns, it's called a police state.
It's called dictatorship.
Exactly.
Russia. Okay? Bolshevik control. Okay, that's what it's called. If only the military and police. And let me tell you something. When only the police has weapons, people get killed. Because look even at the case at the elementary school, okay? By the time the police shows up, everybody was dead. Nothing. The police couldn't solve anything, and they do it all the time. They always show up, and everybody's dead. The crime has been solved in the sense that it's ended.
Carpenter, you know, there's a tremendous exploitation of this horrific tragedy happening in the media.
And it was planned.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, with this little girl writing the letter to the president, he's not the president because he's unconstitutional. He was never eligible. I will not acknowledge him as.
I don't really care about that because they're all patsies, the one that are president.
But the point is, they will use this exploitation, emotional, sensationalistic exploitation, a letter from a child to the president. Oh, please stop the violence. Take away the guns. And that is not the answer.
And that is the thought of a little girl? Absolutely no. She was told to do that. It's all part of the system. It's just absurd. And then the America shows up, the America that is responsible for all of this because it's drug companies that pay them to put people on drugs. The America shows up and say, oh, we don't have enough support. We cannot. Oh, and there is a petition also going. No, actually, it's a lawsuit going on because in the state of Florida, doctors cannot ask for kids that are on this type of drug. They cannot ask the parents whether they own guns or not. It is illegal because it is an interference in their freedom. And America wants to put a stop to that. We have to know.
They want to grab all the guns and increase the drugging of the populace. And that's precisely part of the New World Order agenda.
Got to go along with it.
Yeah, and get this, all right? What the guy did doesn't make any sense, all right? I talked to one of my patients, and she has her son that got into trouble for, get this, for selling, no guns, for selling body armors.
Vests and stuff.
Yeah, protection, okay? He got in trouble because he was...
That's perfectly legal. It's perfectly within his rights to do that.
Well, you know what?
He had big alphabet soup on him, didn't he?
Yeah, they threw him in jail. They charged him and he's in prison. And before they did that, they raided her home. So she knows exactly what I'm talking about when we were discussing the raid.
Just like raided you, Dr. Carpenter.
Right, just exactly the same thing. The bully, it's just unbelievable. Well, she told me, it doesn't make any sense. The guy went into an elementary school. Why did he go to elementary school? Because the high school had an armed policeman. So he went to elementary school because the elementary school does not have an armed policeman. And then he had a body armor, which means he had no intention of getting killed. He did not want to get killed. And then what happens? He killed himself. Well, if he was going to do that, why did he wear a body armor?
Or somebody killed him, Dr. Carpenter.
No.
He killed himself or somebody killed him. I don't have enough facts to
yeah, but I think it's another... I don't know because all of this is speculation. But keep in mind one thing, that those drugs that he was on, okay, and they put a lot of kids on, that drug penetrates the blood-brain barrier. Okay, the barrier to protect the brain. They penetrate. They alter the function of the brain. They alter the personality. They alter the perception that a person has.
Okay, I think we're about to hit break.
Oh, we are? I don't hear anything, do you?
Actually, we should already be into break. Well, no, maybe not. Maybe not.
I just don't understand any of this.
See, where the bumper is supposed to be, I'm hearing nothing. And when the commercial starts, I'll hear it.
I hear it now.
Okay.
All right. But this is guesswork. It's ridiculous.
No pain. No pain.
I'm an engineer. Just watch the clock.
Oh, yeah.
You can do it.
Sure.
Free speech guaranteed. You're listening to the Orion Talk Radio Network.
From the break, the music is still playing, and I can hear it this time. But, okay. What I was saying is, if you are taking a drug that alters your perception, you become the perfect candidate for brainwashing. Anyone? Manchurian Candidate? Anyone? Okay, that's a perfect condition.
It's part of the behavior modification system in which they use drugs, hypnosis, and psychotronic weaponry, which is a computer interacts with the brain. Those three elements are involved in the mind control programs that the government has been running for many years.
And see, they could have used it. I'm positive they used it on this guy and planned all this shooting to serve the purpose of removing guns from the general public, convincing them of a major incident. After all, that's what they've been doing all the time. We got into war before, all the time before, because of major incidents that were created. The Lithuania, World War I, Pearl Harbor, World War II, the Gulf of Tonkin incident, Vietnam, and of course 9/11. It's always something created to give an excuse for action that people don't want.
Yeah, so and you know what else? You know what else, Dr. Carpenter? Let's bring up the UN, quote, small arms treaty. First of all, okay, Barack Obama, before the so-called election of the second term, okay, he said he's not going to sign that. He's not going to support that. Suddenly, after the so-called election, guess what? Oh, yeah, now he's on board with the UN Small Arms Treaty, which is just more gun control. And the UN has no damn business interfering
to get into the U.S.
in the business of these United States. We should be the hell out of there a long time ago. We should never have been involved. These are just a bunch of busybodies controlling and meddling in everybody's business and trying to destroy.
Well, and we had a big part in creating it too.
Yes,
and then the other thing that was done immediately after the so-called election was confirm the head of FDA.
They're all liars, Dr. Carpenter.
I know. We need to. And that's why they know that we're going to get to a point that even though there are a lot of passive people, we're going to get to a point that a revolution is going to start, and they want to make sure we don't have a mean to do it by removing all the weapons. Okay? And they are creating this situation. And this guy was brainwashed because he destroyed the computer because he didn't want any... it's just like Mr. Phelps destroying the instructions. The same thing, Mission Impossible. Remember? He got the instruction and then he was destroying the information. Same thing. So there is no record of the connection he had before he did the shooting. And then he goes where there is no police.
Dr. Carpenter, these operations, and I do believe that that's what this was.
It is an operation.
But they go very deep. And, there's contradictions. If you've seen, I've watched every possible mainstream news report, alternative media news reports, videos, articles, everything that I could find over the past week. And yes, there appear to be many, many contradictions involved in terms of what is being reported. Many these contradictions that are obviously misinformation, false information, and cover-ups. So it's really difficult to get to the bottom of any of this, except for we can always address the main issues. And the main issues to me are, number one, the forceful implementation of gun control, and number two, the pharmaceutical industry and medical mafia campaign to drug everybody into submission. Those are the issues.
They are, and they are so obvious. I don't see how people are not figuring that out. And then what happens? I don't know if you follow this. Of course, the National Rifle Association has been attacked. So they finally spoke up, and what did they say? Oh, the fault is not of the guns, which is not, obviously. No, it's of video games. The fault is of video games. That's another ridiculous thing. I don't know if you, Barbara, and many other people have any first-hand view of what video games do and are, but we have video games playing in this house all the time, so it's pretty hard to miss. Well, video games are a fair fight. Both sides are armed, and both sides are fighting one another like in any combat situation. It's not attacking defenseless people. It's not shooting up children.
That's right.
Okay? So how can you? That is ridiculous.
Do you know that, Dr. Carpenter, there was a person, and who's one of my enemies. He threatened to sue me. His name is John DeCamp, and he wrote this book called The Franklin Cover-Up. Well, anyway, I exposed this guy. He was a crony of Ted Gunderson, the FBI agent Ted Gunderson.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes. 100%. Anyway, what happened is this guy is threatening all over the media and threatening me with a lawsuit, which he never filed. Then he stick these government controlled stalkers on me to come after me. And
ding,
then
ding, ding, Ted Gunderson.
Sorry, I wasn't ready for that.
Right, that's all right. But let me just say this: this guy, John DeCamp, he's an attorney. Okay, he's a former senator from Nebraska. Okay, so anyway, he tried to file a lawsuit banning video games. Okay, because he won a $1 million settlement defending this absolute scumbag named Paul Bonacci, who was involved. He was under mind control, but he was involved in the drugging and abduction of other children. He's a scumbag, okay? And DeCamp won $1 million settlement for this guy, and then he tries to file a lawsuit, and luckily it was shot down. And he was saying, we need limits on the First Amendment. Nonsense!
What has that got to do with anything, limits on the First Amendment?
Because it's part of the ability to a free expression, okay?
Right.
Game, yes, exactly. And
accusing, that's just ridiculous. Accusing is just like saying the gun is guilty, not the person that shot. Exactly. And he's saying a video game is guilty. Well, the video game are fair fights, okay?
Exactly. But the point again, it comes down to the rights of the people, the God-given rights of the people. You can't ban everything. You can't ban guns. You can't ban video games. You can't ban a damn thing that's our God-given and constitutionally protected right to have or do.
It's just like, then at that point, you're going to ban anything. This food is bad for you, so we ban the food.
Yeah.
Or makeup is bad for you. We're going to ban the makeup. Can't use lipstick.
Or spoons are responsible for people gaining weight. We got to ban the spoons. We can't have any people.
Yeah, because they eat ice cream with the spoon,
because they're
right?
eating ice cream with a spoon.
Don't forget the assault forks.
Okay, that's right.
Those assault forks, man, they're horrible.
Yeah, we're forgetting the biggest thing, that the knife to slice food with it, with meat.
Well, they'll ban a knife because you could use it to stab somebody.
Right. But then is it the person that uses it at fault? No.
Exactly.
Not the knife, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I'm telling you that even in the news sometimes you can see there is a part of Tulsa that is pretty bad, okay? It's a really bad part of town. Well, on the news was that this house, somebody knocked at the door, and there were people that, they opened the door. I don't know why at 2 o'clock in the morning you want to have answer the door when somebody's knocking at the door, but that's another issue, okay? So they answered the door, and these people came in armed, and they wanted to rob the place with arms, which, by the way, a criminal will always have access to weapons. It's the ordinary citizens that don't. Well, it just so happened that these ordinary citizens had shotguns in the house. So
Good.
the guy that opened the door yelled at his friends, "Bring the shotgun." Guess what happened? The robber ran out of that place so fast.
Yep.
Because, the shotgun will cut you in half.
Exactly.
And in Oklahoma, you had the Make My Day law. Okay?
That's right. Same in Colorado. They had it at one. I don't know if
got
they
a break
we're hitting a
coming
break.
up?
Yes, we're hitting a break.
Make my day.
Thank you, whoever fixed that. I can hear it now.
Yeah.
It's so hard to keep the smile from my face. I'm all over the place.
Orion Talk Radio, news and views beyond the mainstream.
Well, I don't know about the other show, but I definitely.
I'm beyond the mainstream.
You're listening to The Medical Conspiracy with Dr. Carpenter.
You could hear this one. Okay, we can hear it now. It's great. Thank you for fixing it. Okay, so what we were discussing is basically how all of this is planned to handle the to take the guns away from people. Now, the defense, I expected a better statement from the National Rifle Association, but I guess they also don't want to bite other dogs. So instead of pointing the finger in the right direction, which is the drugs issue by physician, the AMA, instead of pointing the right finger, what they do? Video games. Ridiculous, okay? That sounds like the skid marks are causing accident.
It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd.
It's just stupid, okay? I expect people to believe. But get this, of course, some people beside our show, some other talk show host this week, and one of my patients sent me the recording of a particular show. They have actually discussed the truth. There are the drugs that are given to these people to control to these kids to control their behavior. That the drugs are affecting the personality. But of course, the answer of the medical association, the AMA, is they have to defend their money-making operation. So they came up with the excuses. So one of the things that was published was not just the AMA, but also the AAP, which is American Academy of Pediatrics. And their statement is that a physician is well positioned to warn a parent, ... that a teenager who shows a symptom of depression, could do harm to himself or others if he's given access to firearms. No. It only is because of the drugs he's being put on. If he had depression and not put on those drugs, he wouldn't do anything like that. The drugs, and the researchers have proven for years, there are reports from everywhere that say these drugs warning, because FDA does not pull the drug off the market. They say, we are at a warning that this drug can cause mental tendency, modification of mental reasoning to make the person either suicidal or hurt others.
Dr. Carpenter, it's a well-known fact that the so-called antidepressant like Prozac induces suicidal behavior. That's proven statistically. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and also
violence.
That's correct. And also, as far as the teenagers are concerned, think back millennia, thousands and thousands of years. It's a threshold of life. They're between childhood and adulthood. Teenagers are known to be rebellious and have, these issues. It's normal. It's the way it is in the world? Why do they have to interpret, if they show signs of depression? No, you don't need a drug. You just need the parents to talk to the kids.
And guide you. And guide you.
The parents, not the stupid psychiatrists that are just, as far as I'm concerned, charlatans. Okay? The parents need to offer guidance.
But the guilt is also of the drug companies, because they are saying, if a psychiatrist talks to a patient for an hour, he makes less money if he spends 10 minutes to write a prescription.
Yeah.
The insurance company will pay more for writing a prescription in a few minutes than it would an hour of talking to the patient. The patient needs to be talked to, not a prescription.
Exactly. You see, and it's part and parcel of the whole New World Order control agenda, because they need to drug people, off which they're making billions of dollars. Okay?
And also they can control them that way.
They can control them, and they can make big bucks doing it, and it is obscene.
Yeah, because that way they're only creating a country of slaves. That's all they're doing. Oh, and get this. I think this is a beauty. I don't know if you caught it, but there was a comment of the president, okay? You're going to love this. He said different things, ... and then it gets to, and if there is even one thing that we can do to prevent any of these events, we have a deep obligation, all of us, to try. Okay? That's not a very good sentence, but that's what he said. Okay, well, there is one very good thing we can do. Stop drugging kids. That's the one thing to do. No, instead, nobody's pointing that. The answer is right there. That's the one thing to do. Stop with drugs.
Stop drugging them and teach them responsibility. Teach them self-defense. You know, Dr. Carpenter, my 6-year-old grandson is a martial arts champion. He's won medals for sparring, ball breaking, and all that stuff. He's being trained to defend himself in a way to have his own self-respect, not to do violence, but to have discipline and defend himself. Okay?
Well, martial arts are supposed to be for defense, not for offense.
Exactly. But it's part of a discipline, and there's a code of honor that goes along with it. You're not going out to do harm. You're taught self-discipline and self-confidence and to defend yourself. And the same applies when a person becomes an adult. They should be trained to use a firearm responsibly and defend themselves and their families. That's the answer. That's the answer. Not drugs.
Not drugs. Drugs, you have to make the drug company rich and the people into zombies. I mean, come on, wake up, America. And it's the same. That's what this whole show is about. Bringing up the truth and the evidence that it is a medical conspiracy.
It's disgusting. It certainly is, Carpenter.
It's just, it's obscene what is going on. And depriving people of the freedom of choice. There might be people that choose, I don't want a gun. Okay, that's their prerogative, okay? But the ones that want,
they have the right to defend themselves, aside from the fact that it's God-given. I can't repeat that. God-given, but it's also protected and guaranteed under the United States Constitution, under
Yes, but they are ignoring the Constitution.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms. That is absolutely...
And they want to change that.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
They want to change that.
All the laws passed are unconstitutional. They don't have a right to pass these laws.
Okay, and let me tell you something that I never mentioned all this time since the raid. I never mentioned. During the raid of FDA, okay, we're talking Food and Drug Administration, okay? We're not talking Homeland Security, okay? During the raid, the head of the raid, we all know who he is, okay, asked me if I had guns. And where were they? What business is that of his if I had guns?
None of your beeswax, Jeremy Bain.
It is legal.
Jeremy.
And it is. Yeah, like the French song, Jeremy, voici l'heure, Jeremy. The time has come, Jeremy, to pay
I
up.
just think of Pearl Jam. I'm sorry.
Well, okay, but there is also an old French song that goes, Jeremy, voici l'heure. What means, voici l'heure means the time is here, the time has come. Yeah, to pay up for your crimes. But what is that got to do with anything? All of a sudden, because FDA decided to steal from me, I didn't even have a right to have weapons?
Just because they're thugs packing heat doesn't mean that you don't have a right to have weapons or that they have any right to interrogate you as to whether you have them. It's none of their damn business.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. And I thought, I didn't really pay that much, put that much weight on that, but I thought that was totally ridiculous. None of your business.
That's right.
If I have guns. Okay? So it's just a total abuse going on all aspects of our lives by the government. And we let them? Come on. We cannot do that.
You don't let them, Dr. Carpenter, and I don't let them, and many others like us don't let them. But
we are not united.
Problem is, yes, the problem is too many people are dumbed down, doped up, and they're going to let them because they're just stupid.
Because it's too much effort to oppose the system. And are we at the end of the hour yet?
We should be very close.
I heard some noises, so I was wondering if it was coming up or not. But anyway, in the second hour, during the second hour, we are going to introduce a big issue. Barbara is going to discuss it big time because some things have happened this week that should not have happened at all, especially not from people that she consider and we consider as friends. I know that it's hard to fight the system and you find yourself in an uncomfortable position, but you shouldn't really betray your friends. You shouldn't do that. For convenience, okay? So she's gonna present what has been going on, and she is more knowledgeable of the whole issue than we are, so we want her to come in and show how, even though there are people that come up and say, we are telling you the truth, and we are telling you what is happening, the real, and then they bring in people that are obviously frauds, and they are really dishonest. Okay, we are back after the news. We are here for the second hour, and as I promised, and I said toward the end of the first hour, and I don't know if everything that I was saying was heard because once again, the break snuck up when we couldn't hear anything. But I started introducing the idea that now Barbara...
I heard that, though. You know what I'm saying? We heard we heard that coming in. We heard the intro, but I couldn't hear the outro to save me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we're going to have Barbara discuss with you what has been happening this week and how she's distressed over the events and how the public is again being misinformed. I don't really have all the details. She does, so I'll give the mic to her. Okay, Barbara.
Okay. First of all, I should preface this by saying that this is about, some of it anyway, is about the MK Ultra mind control program, which was run by CIA, okay? And as some of your listeners may know, and I'm sure as you know, that unfortunately I myself was a childhood victim of this program run by CIA. I was recruited, of course, without my permission, because I'm a child, okay? I was recruited into this program actually even before I was born, because how they operate in CIA is they utilize their own. It's intergenerational. It's like the mafia. You know, if you're a member, your family's a member, then your children they become members, whether they want to be or not. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's really important to understand. And the MKUltra program was officially, it began in 1953. But before that, it was engineered by Nazi scientists under Project Paperclip that came over here after World War II. They were brought here at the behest and the expense of the U.S. government. Okay? They were brought here, and they were the core of CIA. And they had been doing these experiments, mind control, genetic engineering, through their Nazi Reich. Okay? And there were people like Dr. Joseph Mengele, the Angel of Death, Sidney Gottlieb, okay, and on and on. These are Nazi war criminals we're talking about that came in, and they were the core of CIA. It's really important to understand who we are dealing with here.
The Nazis never went out of business. They just moved.
No, they never did. They were just reincarnated, the Nazi legacy that lives on, as I call it. So,
well, the head of NASA was American pronounced his name differently, but his name was von Braun. Okay, von means he was Baron. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, even NASA was okay.
Yeah, they're all it's all interconnected. Okay. Yeah. But the point that I'm making here is that, you know, I don't know how many years this has become any kind of well-known fact, but it hasn't. It really has not. I've approached people that were like in their 80s, for an example. These are people in their 80s that I know. They're ex-military people, okay? And I told them, we were discussing other issues, and I said, oh, did you know that the core of CIA was formed by Nazi scientists under Project Paperclip? And they just give me a blank look. Oh my God. Oh my God. And now these are people, okay, that have been career military, okay? And they're in their 80s. They did not know, okay? So
just like the medical was with the mustard gas and came from the Nazi research.
Exactly. Okay, so we're talking about a long legacy here of evil, okay? And anyway, it came forward in this MKUltra mind control program. Now, the real purpose, the actual purpose of MKUltra program run by CIA, there were roughly 156 sub-projects under the MKUltra banner. It was formed to, quote, create the perfect spy during the Cold War era. So that was the purpose of it, okay? It was an intelligence operation, and that was its purpose. Now, time goes by. The government knew that this could not be kept under wraps, and it wasn't. I mean, there was the issue of Frank Olson. I don't remember exactly what year that was, but Frank Olson was a CIA scientist. He was involved in MKUltra. He was murdered, and it was deemed a suicide that he jumped out a window. No, he didn't jump out the window. He was
pushed.
He was pushed, and they drugged him with LSD. Okay?
Yeah.
So here it is again. Let's go back and examine the components of mind control that these people were using. And I'm being very simplistic here because we don't have a lot of time. But let me just say this. One was drugs. All right? Drugs, number one. 2, hypnosis. And 3, psychotronic technology, which is a computer-type technology that interfaces with the brain. Those are the 3 main components that were used. And it's a lot more complicated than that. But again, the government didn't have an interest in creating the, quote, sex slaves, okay? And they didn't, I'm not saying this did not happen, okay, because it's a form of trauma, but that wasn't it. That's never what it was about. All right. So now comes forward sometime in the 90s, these individuals that came forward claiming that there was this, quote, Project Monarch, which they claimed was a CIA operation. It never was. Okay? I have expertise on these issues, not to mention that I was directly involved as a survivor of these black operations from CIA. All right? So yes, there was a side show, a side issue that was created, and they did have these people that were forced into human trafficking and prostitution. Okay, that was true, that it happened, but that was not the purpose of MKUltra. When it all started to come out, all right, I think there was the Church Committee hearing sometime in the 70s when some of it came out, all right? They claimed they destroyed the MKUltra documents and he was ordered to be destroyed, but they were not, okay? This stuff all just went deeper. Nothing stopped. It went deeper underground, and it continues to this day. So now we have the shills coming forward. There's a person named Mark Phillips. Let me give him as a first example. Mark Phillips, I don't know if you've heard of him. He wrote a book with Kathy O'Brien called Transformation of America. Have you heard of the book?
No.
Okay. It rings a bell.
Okay. Well, that was the first public, sort of real public exposure, so to speak, okay, so to speak, of a so-called victim or survivor coming forward, okay, and what it was all about sex slaves, presidential models, they called themselves. They were used, these women were groomed and trained to be sex slave to presidents and politicians and all that kind of thing. All right, so this book was written, and suddenly it became, oh, here's the truth. Here's what the government is really doing. No, that it didn't have anything to do with the real MKUltra operations, and they called it Project Monarch. All right, then you get a bunch of people coming forward, and they're all claiming, I'm exposing Project Monarch, and that I call it the sex slaves and Satanism. Okay, sex slaves and Satanism sideshow, because that's exactly what it is. Because MKUltra was not designed to create sex slaves. All right, that's not what.
Okay, we got a break hitting us.
Okay.
Yeah, I could.
Oh, and welcome back to Mystery Bumpers.
You're listening to The Medical Conspiracy.
Okay.
Wow.
Dr. Carpenter.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay, and we're back.
Yeah, we're back. I sure
For
missed
the last few seconds of the bumper anyway.
I sure missed the board operator on Liberty News Radio. Remember him?
Oh, well.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Barbara was getting to really interesting things, and she has something to add about the sex slaves.
Okay. Well, you see, this was what was put out, okay? The Monarch Project, sex slaves and Satanism. All right.
Ding, 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 Ted Gunderson.
It never fails. It's always cracking
And of
you
course, let me just briefly outline this part of it. Ted Gunderson was part of what is called a containment operation and protection racket, so that he would get all these people, so-called, under his wing, all these people that were supposedly involved in MKUltra, CIA MKUltra. And he had co-conspirators, which were CIA agents. I've exposed all of them, okay? At least the ones that tried to approach me or messed with me in any way. I've exposed them all. But so in any case, getting back to this containment and protection, containment operation and protection racket.
That sounds like mafia protection.
Well, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. Because what they'll do is they'll say, come with us, come in under us, we're going to expose this, and we'll protect you. We'll protect you, but we'll tell you what to say. We'll tell you what you're going to say, what you can expose, and what you're not going to expose. Of course, that was tried with me. And I wasn't buying it. I never allowed it to happen to me. And eventually I broke off any connections I had with any of the people that tried to do that, including ding, 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 Ted Gunderson. So anyway, yeah, these people were all involved. All right. Now, you get these charlatans, as I was mentioning. Mark Phillips. Mark Phillips was the one that was a handler. He claimed that he rescued Kathy O'Brien from mind control, okay? And of course, he's bringing up all this monarch stuff. In my opinion, the monarch, so-called, was invented by Mark Phillips, okay? This is way back in the 90s sometime. Okay, then it spread around. Now you hear everybody talking, oh, Project Monarch. And I can remember way back, when I first came out, it was around 1995, but it was later on, maybe around 98 or 99, when I came out first and publicly on the internet started to expose my involvement in, CIA black operations, including MK Ultra. And guess what happened? This Mark Phillips starts emailing me. He tries to contact me. And he's giving me unsolicited advice about what I, quote, should be doing. So I get these emails, and I email, and he told me, one of the things he said to me is, oh, don't talk about the government harassment. Don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. And I emailed him back, and I said, Mr. Phillips, you need to mind your own damn business. I don't know you. You don't know me. I don't need your help. I don't need your advice. Get off my case. Okay? So, of course, right after that, they started to attack me. Okay? These are the Monarch promoters. They started to publicly attack me. And anyway, getting back to what Randy had brought up, this Michelle Wolven, in one of her idiotic letters, she wrote a letter to the manager of Orion Talk Radio complaining about me. Oh, this dangerous woman coming on a guest on the air at Dr. Carpenter's radio show. And then she said, oh, and
she never called me doctor.
Oh, no, that's right. Yeah, right. Ms. Carpenter. She claims to be a sex slave. A sex slave. I never made any such claim. Never in my life, nor was I involved ever in any such thing. But see, that's the propaganda, the power of the propaganda, that they want people to believe that everybody was sexually abused, everybody was a sex slave, everybody was involved in this so-called Monarch, which was never a CIA operation.
Yeah, but then the daughter comes up and said, how dare you call my mother a troll?
Exactly. Okay. But now moving along. Okay, so we have this proponents of this so-called Monarch project. And one of those people is Fritz Springmeier, a.k.a. Arthur Alexander Jr., a.k.a. Victor E. Schaaf or Schoof or whatever the name was. Here's a guy that compiled a number of books about the Illuminati, about so-called CIA mind control, Monarch, okay? And he had a woman named Cisco Wheeler, whose real name is Linda Johnson, by the way. And all these people are using false names, false identities. Anyway, he wrote these books. He was out there since probably the mid-90s or so, promoting his stuff that he has. And everything that he's promoting in the books, I have been personally exposing this guy Springmeier since it's got to be sometime in the mid-90s when I started investigating him in the mid-90s. And I have exposed him here and there in my reports. Basically, I've just said he's a charlatan. I believe he was a mind control handler. He had a number of false IDs, which a former associate of Springmeier had provided to me in hard copy documentation I think it was back in 99 or 2000 or so. And I saw the actual forged, illegal unlawful, forged identities. Okay, I saw them. In fact, I probably still have them in my hard copy files. I have to search and see if I can find them. So anyway, then I was attacked. As soon as I started exposing the truth, as I always do, I was immediately attacked by all these people, including Ken Adachi. Now, Ken Adachi is just a COINTELPRO stooge. He's a shill, and he was a major PR shill for Ted Gunderson. Ding, 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 Ted Gunderson. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with.
Ding,
here,
ding,
okay?
ding, Ted Gunderson.
Okay.
So,
All right, I'm wearing that out.
So
Yes,
it's
you
okay.
are.
It's entertaining. So
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm accused by Ken Adachi, of course, and Ted Gunderson when he was around. I'm a CIA disinfo agent, and I'm attacking real American patriots like Ted Gunderson and Fritz Springmeier.
But didn't
Well,
you say
no.
that Springmeier is actually a bank robber?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, let me get, I'm not there yet. But
Yeah.
anyway, sometime, I don't remember the exact year, but Springmeier was arrested on charges of bank robbery, and there was also another connected incident, which was a bomb that went off in some kind of a porno video store, okay, and 6 miles away from the bank or something. I don't have all the facts. I only know what I have researched for myself. Anyway, he was convicted on these charges, and he did serve time in prison. So he was turned in, evidently, by an accomplice, Forrest Bateman, I think the name was, turned in by this accomplice. And I don't know what kind of deal was made or what happened. All I know, here's
Got a
me.
break.
The break's coming.
You better call me a doctor. Feeling no pain. Overloaded. Down the drain. Somebody give me a doctor. You better call up the ambulance. I'm deep in shock. Overloaded, baby. I can hardly walk. Somebody give me a doctor. Somebody give me a doctor.
Free speech guaranteed. You're listening to the Orion Talk Radio Network.
Okay, we're back from the break, and this time we heard it. Okay, so we give the microphone back to Barbara so she can continue with her explanation and clarification of what is really going on. Okay.
I think we left off when I was talking about Fritz Springmeier.
Right.
Well, okay, let me say it this way. According to all the investigations I have done, as I mentioned, which began in the mid-90s, because all these people that come out with information, these books, and their claims that they make about mind control, I investigate them because it's a matter of great concern to me, especially when people are spreading false information. Okay, so again, along with Mark Phillips, Monarch Project, Fritz Springmeier, Monarch Project, and there are others. Now, David Icke. I know that David Icke copied heavily from Fritz Springmeier. Now, David Icke is the one that promotes the shape-shifting reptilian aliens. Okay? The big secret. Okay, nonsense. Okay, so
That's out of the movie V, the TV series V.
Exactly. All right. So you get all these people scavenging off each other. And meanwhile, you got the government in the background wanting to do this cover-up and this containment operation, a protection racket. And that's what spawned this whole nonsense about the Monarch, which it was never, I can guarantee you, was never a CIA operation. You can go out on the internet if you find credible sources of people that have actually investigated this and have the facts. They will all tell you the same thing. There was no, quote, Monarch Project under MK Ultra. Was not. Okay, So now we come back to Springmeier. Now he claims that he's in with all these people in the so-called patriot community. And again, all these people defend him, promote him, support him. Ken Adachi, the PR shill for Ted Gunderson. The so-called fake doctor, True Odd, who is not a doctor. He's got fake, he promotes himself as being a PhD and a naturopathic doctor. He is neither. He does not have the degrees that he promotes. Okay, so you get this guy, True Ott. Then you get, a number of others. Henry Macau, a rabid misogynist and male supremacist, and on it goes. You get all these people. All right, they're all saying, oh, Fritz Springmeier is a political prisoner. He was set up. He's innocent. No, not in my opinion. It's just my considered professional opinion, but it is a considered professional opinion. It's not speculation. It is an opinion. That is my opinion, that this guy is guilty as sin, committed the crimes, did the time, and now he's out there again, promoting all his garbage. All right. So now the next thing that I see happening, which I found to be, frankly, very distressing, is I see Springmeier being heavily promoted on different, radio talk shows and websites. And I'm saying to myself, why would they be promoting Springmeier? Some of these individuals have been given the documentation by me, have been given the facts, and so I don't really understand what could be going on here.
I don't know, but the fact is that you were going to discuss he was guest on a show, and we all have taken that as a betrayal. Okay.
Well, I can tell you from my perspective, Dr. Carpenter, I don't necessarily take it as a betrayal. What I look at it is that, look, people have their own shows. They are the deciders, as George Bush said. They have the right to decide who they will promote, and that is their right. So I would never, ever interfere. Okay, I could warn the people and give them the documentation, and then they can choose. That is their choice. They can choose to disregard it. Okay, in this case, they chose to promote it. So in any case.
But how could they call themselves the Truth Broadcasting, and they are just misleading?
I don't know. What I can tell you is that there were a few shows in the past. I know with Fritz Springmeier on Howard Nima's broadcast, which is the Truth Talk News. Okay, and then there was a recent one which happened on December 10th, and I happened to listen to it, and frankly, I was surprised because the interview was conducted by Howard Nima with Harry Link and Vinny Blasone. They're all connected with Truth Broadcast Network, but that is Harry Link's network, Truth Broadcast Network. In any case, there was an interview of Fritz Springmeier, and so I listened to it, and it seemed to me, the impression that I had is that all of the hosts were very supportive. That's the word I can use, supportive of Fritz Springmeier. So then I noticed, a couple days go past, then I noticed there's this big banner on, it was Truth Broadcast Network, a big, huge banner, and it said in capital letters, Springmeier is back, as if it's this big announcement, okay? And then it's promoted as a historic interview with Fritz Springmeier. And then I noticed that the next thing is there's a huge advertisement promoting encouraging people to buy these books by Fritz Springmeier. And at that point, I just said to myself, well, okay, this is their right. They have the right to choose who they're going to promote and support. But I personally, when I saw that, I said to myself, I must remove my links for Truth Broadcast News and Truth Broadcast Network, because I personally do not want to support a network or networks that are promoting people who are promoting disinformation. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah. And then to make the matter worse about the website, who else do they promote?
Oh, yeah. Then, okay, now the next thing comes along. All right, so I removed the links for these two networks. And it's nothing. I have to make this point. It's nothing personal. It's nothing. I have no animosity toward anybody. I simply, on principle, I operate on principle. Not my first loyalty is to principle, not persons. So if I see promotions of a charlatan and a criminal such as Fritz Springmeier, as if he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, no, I'm not going to be promoting networks that promote that. But anyway, the next thing was that I noticed they were redesigning the Truth Broadcast Network. So when I went there just to look at it, to see what kind of shows they had on, what did I see? Now, Alex Jones, Prison Planet TV. Alex Jones, Prison Planet TV is being not only promoted but aired. Alex Jones has a show on Truth Broadcast Network.
Really?
Now, if you want to call it Truth Broadcast Network,
I thought it was. Oh, I'm sorry. I did see a YouTube video there once, but I didn't know that he was actually doing shows there.
well, they have it added to the regular schedule. Alex Jones.
Oh, there is the break comes up. Yeah. We'll continue this after we come back.
Wow.
Yes, look at that, but you didn't listen.
We'll get back after the break.
Yeah. Hit me with your laser beam. I guess that's what the FDA was trying to stop. People being hit by a laser beam that was healing them. We can't allow hitting with a laser beam, even if it helps you. Okay. No, that wasn't the reason. But anyway, so since we have gotten into this issue about Alex Jones, and we have discussed Alex Jones several times, and we have exposed what he does several times.
I can't handle it anymore. I just try to get the word out. I just try to sit here and be a moral person and do the right thing.
And I want to point out the fact that this was done, this recording was played several times during our interview at Truth Broadcast Network. Okay? This is something. So having the group promoting Alex Jones is sort of a shock for us. Okay? And I guess it.
Let me just say this, okay? I'm interested only in the facts, okay?
Right.
The fact is that the Truth Broadcast Network is owned by Harry Link. So that was evidently his decision to bring on Alex Jones. And my decision was simply that I will not promote a network. I don't care who's affiliated with it. If they're promoting Alex Jones, I will not promote that network. It's a matter of principle for me. It's very simple. Right. Okay, so but getting back to the Alex Jones issue, just again, in case the listeners don't know this, Alex Jones was responsible for ripping me off the air at GCN in 2003 because I was exposing his cronies, John DeCamp, who we mentioned earlier, and Ted Gunderson. And it was another person's show. It was Jeremy Floyd. And Alex Jones literally stepped in and pulled the plug on me. It wasn't even his show. And then he threatened the host never to have any contact with Barbara Hartwell.
Because Alex Jones had a lot of pull on the web, on the GCN. Okay, what was going on in GCN?
Of course, he was one of the big wigs. And Alex Jones, for those who don't yet know it, he's COINTELPRO. He has always been COINTELPRO. Now, for anybody that thinks they know anything about COINTELPRO, you think you know about COINTELPRO and you're going to promote Alex Jones? No, you won't. You're either ignorant or you're being disingenuous or just dishonest. Because interested in the truth, do not promote Alex Jones.
But up to a short time ago, a few weeks ago, I guess, before he started having problems and then it turned. But before that, Alex Jones was being ridiculed, and he kept asking us to play that recording several times.
That's a separate show, though, Dr. Carpenter. I have to stick to the facts. That show is a separate show. That was Truth Talk News. It wasn't, but it's connected. Yeah, it's connected.
Yeah, it's connected. Okay, it's like saying I have this show, Medical Conspiracy, and I tell you about that, but then I have another show, and that tells you how great the AMA is. I mean, that's the same thing.
Oh, okay, but my point is this, and I can only address it because I'm completely independent. Okay, I'm always straightforward. Anybody that knows me can tell you that. Okay, I am straightforward and honest. Anything I have to say about a person, I will say it to your face. If I have a problem with something you're doing, I will say it to your face. But I draw the line at interfering or meddling in other people's business. So if somebody wants to promote Fritz Springmeier, Alex Jones, that is your prerogative. You have the right to do that. And I have the right to speak my mind about you doing that. That's how I feel.
Especially after having a different position before.
Well, in addition to that, I have to say that Fritz Springmeier has been instrumental in doing great damage. He and his cronies have been instrumental in doing tremendous damage to me and my family by promoting the falsehoods that he does. They have attempted to discredit me based on their false information about so-called Monarch and MK Ultra.
So basically, he's the Michelle Woman of your situation.
Well, not necessarily. He's just one person, Dr. Carpenter. But he's one of quite a number of them. They're all in the same cabal, I would call it. And these are not honest people. I do believe that Fritz Springmeier is a criminal. And so I don't understand. I can just say this. Even if someone were thinking, oh, we're going to just run a little operation and interview this guy and then expose him, I find that personally, I do not condone anything of that nature. I would not participate in anything of that nature. For me, it's the truth or nothing. You're either honest and you say, I'm going to investigate this individual. I'm going to expose what I find from my investigation. Okay? You do that. That's fine. But if you're up to something, I just find it not to be a straightforward way of dealing with anything. And remember, the disinformation was being promoted. Springmeier is back. Buy Springmeier's books. How many people could read that and say, yeah, I'm going to go run out and order those books? And meanwhile, you get me here, okay, in a literal situation of financial ruin and devastation, can't even get any donations to support my life, much less my work. And they're promoting buy Springmeier's books. Learn the truth. That's not truth.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. But some things have been going on for quite a while because I told you the Janet Phelan interview and then bring me into that interview sounded to me like a trap for me, trying to entrap me in a situation where I couldn't handle somebody insulting me. Oh, you're mistaken. You don't know, blah, blah, blah. I mean, which is, you got to be born yesterday.
Well, no, I don't know about that, Dr. Carpenter. I'm trying to, for me, I'm just trying to stick to these.
Well, that was a fact that happened,
yes,
okay?
Happened. Yes,
that actually happened. The fact that he never posted that interview was because things didn't go as planned, and the effort of that woman didn't work. She was not able. I still exposed her. Okay, so I'm just saying. Well, why put me in that position? Why? That's no reason to. Why try to put that kind of a position like if I didn't have enough problems as it was already? Why? I didn't particularly appreciate that. Of course, that was covered up with excuses, but that's all they were, excuses, and it's really depressing. Not that it surprises me, okay? And as far as doing a sting operation, like you were saying, that is not honest. No, it's not, because that will become like becoming a Jeremy Bain, planning a raid and pretending to make an appointment for a patient to come in.
Okay, exactly. See, Dr. Carpenter, I do not support, condone, or do those kind of things. And I can honestly say that I have made that very clear to any of these individuals that I had previously discussed this with. No, I don't condone it. I will not be a part of it. I have not been a part of it. But I will not hold back in exposing the truth or speak the truth because somebody thinks they're going to run this little operation when it's got nothing to do with me. I'm just about the truth, period. And again, I don't allow personal friendships to ever stand in the way of reporting the truth, because the issues at stake are just too grave here.
Yeah, because if you're promoting Springmeyer and then people actually buy the book and read it, then they are gonna be misled to think that that's the truth of what he's saying.
Exactly right, but for me, it's a life and death issue, Dr. Carpenter. And I haven't talked a lot about this. We don't have a lot of time left, but I am literally on the verge of going hungry. I don't have food. I had to depend on begging care packages from friends. I put out appeals for donation. Nobody donates. Nobody donates. Yeah. They don't give me a damn thing. And here I am, and I'm like you. I just care about the truth, and I care about defending my rights. And so I will have no traffic with anybody who's not openly, honestly say, here's the truth, and people that are criminals, that are actually interfering in some way, like Fritz Springmeyer, his untruths are interfering with my truth and therefore a threat to me and my life.
And the same about promoting Alex Jones, because Alex Jones is...
Exactly.
He's lying to people. He's misleading.
He's trying to do the right thing.
No, he's trying to make people afraid, so be paralyzed by fear, and they will do nothing.
But these people, at least speaking about Alex Jones is a multi-millionaire. Yeah. While I scrape, I have to ration when I can get it. No thanks.
And how did Alex Jones become a multi-millionaire? By lying to people and telling them, the situation is really bad, buy gold. So I can go. Yeah. Oops.
And there's the music.
Yeah. So we're done for this week. Okay. I hope everybody has a very great
Thank you for listening
Christmas.
To The Medical Conspiracy.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes. Have a good time. We'll talk about after Christmas. But try to do the best you can to have a good time. Good family time.